Welcome back to Outriders. In this video, I want to talk to you guys about the latest patch, which was to mainly change the legendary drop rates, but also added in a anti-duplication system. They changed some of the scripted boss loot, which was story stuff, and then they improved the luck system. They also added extra options and settings for controller customization, including dead zones, look sensitivity, acceleration, and legacy layouts. There are a few other things in there as well, like improved sign-in times on Xbox and stuff. And when I loaded it up after the maintenance and downloading the update, I joined an expedition. I wasn't thinking anything of it. I didn't have any hope at all for this update, because that's what PCF have kind of created within the community, because every patch has created more issues than it's solved. And before we jump into this video, make sure you are sub to the channel, turn notifications on, and if you want to support me as a creator, there are channel memberships, Patreon, and a merch store you guys can take a look at in the description. Remember, all of that stuff is optional, and without further ado, let's jump into it. For those that are getting confused about the new appreciation package, they did state that will be coming later on this week, providing the tests go alright. So those of you signing in expecting to see a brand new legendary is not in the game yet. But based on the legendary drop rates, they have significantly improved. I was actually pleasantly surprised by this update, and that is for everything, not just the legendary drop rates. The connection feels a lot better. There are some games where it's still yellow bars. Sometimes it even shows like 3 squares inside the yellow triangle, and I believe that's some form of packet loss. But with this change, they have made a positive change, at least in my experience. I can't speak for everyone, or even anyone besides me and my personal experience. But for me, the servers have seemed to actually be pretty good. Most of the games have a stable connection. However, they did mention they had fixed the gravity leap issue of players getting stuck in an animation after using that in multiplayer, and that is actually server based because it works fine when there's no connection issue, but as soon as you get a yellow bar, you'll start getting stuck with gravity leap. That's still an issue. There's a lot of mods and stuff and skills that don't work properly when you're playing multiplayer, providing you have a yellow connection bar. When there's no issues with the server you're on, there are no issues with your mods and skills, from what I've played anyway. I've played quite a lot of expeditions today. So yeah, the connection, in my opinion, seems a lot better, and the legendary drops are dropping so much more often. It's actually good. However, there is an issue with the anti-duplication system, quite a dodgy one, and I'll be doing a separate video for that. Basically, it's not working as intended. I'm not going to ruin the video because it's quite funny to experience what I experienced. But overall, the drops, the legendaries, are coming a lot more often. I've recorded some actual gameplay videos of me running the expeditions, so you'll see all of that upcoming on the channel. But yeah, this patch definitely seems to be, at least from what I've tested, so, I don't know, I spent about 5 hours playing expeditions non-stop today, and it seems to be in a much better state. There were still issues with party joining failure, but other than that, I've not really had many issues at all. However, with that being said, why has it taken them 3 months to do something like this? Are they really that desperate to get some of the player base back? And not only that, are these changes going to last? Because they do a lot of back-end stuff, and for those of you that have been around on the channel since the Division 2 days, or at least since the rants and stuff started for the Division 2, you would have noticed that when they did changes for loot to make it drop better, it lasted like 2 or 3 days and then it went back to how it was before. And even though you go on the expedition screen and you see tier 15 gold times going to be a 50% legendary drop rate from the first 4 drops, that might all actually turn around and go back to how it was before without actually seeing a visual change. We don't know what's going to happen, we have to wait and see. However, there's a lot of confusion currently with the world tiers, and I've showed it in one of the videos I've recorded. I mean, I'll probably cut it out now that I'm speaking about it. But when you look at the world tiers, that 425% for world tier 15 is still exactly the same. That hasn't changed. And people are saying that that's because they've changed it regarding the base value. So you'll never see that 425% increase change. However, with the world tiers outside of the expeditions, the drop rate is absolutely abysmal. It's not even like a 2% drop rate. I've seen videos like ages ago of people doing like 200 runs on World Tier 15 and getting like 1 or 2 legendaries. It's ridiculous how low that drop rate is, and just to increase it by 100%, that's not on. I feel that should have been bumped up by maybe like 10,000%, and that's not even an exaggeration. It needs a drastic change, because you can't rely on people playing expeditions. There are so many people that just want to play the story and they want to get a couple of good weapons. They don't want to be grinding the same 15 missions over and over again when it's all based on time as well. People want to just freely jump in and have a decent chance, not even like an amazing chance, just have a small chance of getting legendaries. So I feel the world tier stuff should be looked into further. But as for expeditions, I feel they're in a pretty good state for now. However, I have this bad feeling, knowing PCF and Square Enix, I have a bad feeling they've done this because they're very close to like finishing their work on some new content and they want to try and bring players back. I've got a feeling the content's going to be paid, so we'll say it's an expansion, a full-on expansion for £15. I have a feeling they're doing all this stuff, doing things right because they know how to do it, but they're doing it to try and get some positive feedback from the people like me that have been negative, and they're doing it in order to bring some players back to the game, increase their player count, so that they can, boom, drop their DLC or whatever it is, and players are going to buy into it. That's what I'm thinking at the moment. However, I can't be 100% sure. We're going to have to wait and see. But based on previous games and stuff I've played, I wouldn't put it past them to do that. So just keep your eyes open. We could possibly see some form of new content within the next few weeks or so. But then it also depends on what happens. Are the drops going to go back to being dreadful or not? We're going to have to wait and see for all of it. But based on what I've played today since the patch, it has been very smooth. There's been a couple of server issues here and there, party joining failure, but when I can get in and players aren't sitting in the Outriders camp twiddling around with their thumbs, the game has been actually quite enjoyable. But what we're going to do is leave the video there. Let me know your thoughts and stuff in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed it.